My daughter Divya was diagnosed with autism when she was 3.5 years old. The neurologist spoke as he wrote something, not making eye contact. When he looked up, he told me there was no cure, no clues, and no guarantees that she would ever speak. Since they did not insist that my husband Shankar be present, I heard this news alone. And I felt at the time as if I had been dealt a living death. But I'm not here to talk about that nuclear winter. I'd prefer to talk about my reincarnation. A few weeks later, I visited my Indian classical music teacher, a kind and gentle older Indian lady. I said I would not be resuming lessons because we were recently told that our daughter is autistic. Her face broke into the widest grin. She threw her head back and broke into an enthusiastic chuckle. "Good, good, good," she said, rubbing her hands together. I practically froze at this macabre display of glee. Her smile faded. "What is wrong?" "Well, this is a tragedy," I said in as even a voice as I could muster. Silence, followed by a genuinely puzzled look. "Why it is a tragedy?" she inquired. "You are also very artistic. Artism is good, no?" At that instant, I felt like a character in a Leslie Nielsen movie. Stifling the urge to laugh hysterically, I explained to her what autism meant. Her face grew utterly shocked and contrite. But I actually felt much lighter as I left. She reminded me of something I had temporarily lost sight of, which is this: humor is the only broad-spectrum antidote to life. I remember talking about Divya's hurricane-force tantrums to a former coworker. "It's the terrible twos," he said. "Don't worry, she'll get over it, by the time she's about 25. We discovered quite early that Divya showed a rollicking appreciation of the absurd. One day, when she was trying to break the floor with her head, to the accompaniment of much heavy metal shrieking, I draped a large comforter over myself and sat motionless in the middle of the room. I probably looked to her like a gigantic quilted pyramid. After a while, the shrieks tapered off and there was a brief silence. A corner slowly lifted up and her chubby, tear-streaked face peered in. "Peekaboo," I said, at which she went tee in spite of herself. Then she remembered she was supposed to be a very angry person and tried to roll over and repeat the performance, but this time without much conviction. And so I used laughter and fun as much as I could to build connections. For instance, I might sit cross-legged on the floor, chewing on something twig-like, and slowly topple over to crash sideways with my legs still crossed. She would chuckle herself into hiccups and point to the right picture. She eventually learned to verbalize panda bear. Her bilingual verbalizations often confounded her teachers. I got a call from an elementary school teacher who said Divya was unwell. When I got there, I thought she looked fine. "What's wrong?" I asked. "Well, all day today she's been saying enema there, enema there." The little rascal had been saying enema ide, a Tamil phrase meaning, "What are you doing, sweetie?" Something I used on her quite often. The teacher had dispatched her to lounge on the beanbag every time she said this. Divya evidently understood she could use the phrase to get herself some extra veg out time. I've benefited from my own close relationship with my mother and her phenomenal insights into Divya's behavior. She can take me from zero to perspective in 60 seconds. I was once giving vent to my exasperation over the phone when she said calmly, "You know, the one thing you cannot cure Divya of is her being a 5-year-old." Another time, when I told her Divya was driving me crazy, she replied, "But that is impossible. How can you say that?" I raged. "Because you already are," she said. Shankar absolutely adores our daughter and indulges her endlessly. But what sustains our relationship is our ability to make each other laugh. If we were humorless parents that saw every quirk in our child as needing to be fixed, we would have created a permanent hell for ourselves and for Divya. And we would likely never have allowed Divya to blossom into the young woman she is today, funny, loving, and musically accomplished. She went from being excluded from her elementary school choir to representing her high school at state solo and ensemble, winning first division 2 years in a row. She scored outstanding ratings at piano festivals 4 years in a row. Her sense of humor has matured too. Now she finds nothing more hilarious than annoying me. But when I take a break from worrying about the future to look back at the distance Divya put between herself and the neurologist who said she might not talk, the teacher who thought she couldn't do math, the music therapist who said she could never be taught to play the piano, the choir teacher who kept her out of performances, I think, you're welcome to the last laugh, baby mine. Thank you.